as I possibly can to help each of you with whatever personal situations you might be dealing with. So the mic's positioned right here in the middle. So does anyone have any questions? Well, thank you very much. It was nice seeing you all. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Then you can just come on up to the mic. Okay, come on up. Give her a hand. Make her feel welcome and excited to be here. What's your name?
Lori.
Lauren?
Lori.
Lori. Nice to meet
Lori,
you, Lori.
L-A-U-R-I.
Yes.
My question is, we have a lot of stress right now going on in our company, and I'm finding it really difficult to deal with a lot of that. I have a lot of negativity and motivation to get started with, losing weight and getting back into the gym, because I had actually done that. I had lost 33 pounds, and then when all this started happening, I gained it all back. Mm-hmm. So what is it that I can do to get rid of some of that negativity and get that motivation back?
Very awesome question. First, stop looking outside, because you're not going to get rid of the negativity. In fact, it's probably going to get a lot worse. Well, that's probably not the answer you wanted. But the truth is that the winds of life that you're experiencing, they're not going to change. And if they do, great. If they don't, so what? The fact remains that if you will change, if you'll make the disciplines of setting up a routine, what I would start with first and foremost is come up with, if you're looking for weight loss, which is what it sounds like you want, set up a very definitive food plan.
Which
so that every day.
I have that. It's just getting started with it.
So it's developing momentum.
Yes.
So the first thing is ask yourself what it's going to be like once you've lost the 35, 40 pounds. In other words, how great are you going to feel? How much more energy are you going to have? And how much more equipped are you going to be independent of what life brings? Now, your biggest fear most likely is losing your job, I take it.
No, I don't have a fear of that.
Well, what's your ultimate fear then? What you're talking about stress. So stress is code for there's something going on in my life that I'm making a major reality for me. So what is it that, bring that to its full expression. What's the worst that could possibly happen? And this is not just for her. All of you need to hear this. In other words, when you start to experience stress, ask yourself, what is it that I'm most stressed about? In other words, sometimes we have this constant hum of anxiety, and it's just this uncertainty we're uncomfortable with.
There's a lot of that.
Yes, so talk to me about what's the worst that could come from that.
I don't know.
If you did know. I'm sure you don't feel like you did, but if you did know.
I guess there could be, reorganization.
Okay, so change.
So change.
Yes.
I feel like I'm not performing to the potential that I used to, because there's so much more activity and, I don't know, there's a lot of job stress. I feel like I'm letting people down.
You're over-chunked, essentially. So you have all these things coming in, and when we get into this pattern where we just focus on to-dos instead of what are we being, that's when we find ourselves where you're describing, where we just feel over-chunked. Like, what am I going to do? I have this, this, this. First thing, get as specific as you can outside of your head by taking everything and committing it to paper. That's going to do a miraculous thing for getting all these things that you're unsure about onto paper. What happens for a lot of us is we magnify things when we commit them to paper, we find there's not as many things. For example, I'll give you a great illustration of this. If you'll get a piece of paper here. If you will commit to paper, okay, I have to, give me a couple of the things you have to do off the top of your head. Actions, you said there's so many job activities.
Yeah. Go ahead. Well, I'm in provider relations. Yep.
So
there's emails, there's phone calls. There's a lot of expectations right now because we have...
Never mind the expectations, activities. I need to know activities.
Okay. Meetings.
Meetings, yep.
We research a lot to find root causes of issues.
Okay.
Gosh.
Keep going.
Help me out.
No, don't look outside yourself. Hey, that's cheating. Look here. Okay, you're the one with the problem, not them.
Oh, no. They have the same problem.
Well, they can tell me about it. You tell me.
Yeah, a lot of angry customers, so we're dealing with customer service issues.
I say public relations, right?
Yep. Trying to remain positive with our providers when maybe inside or are not feeling as positive. So we have to kind of help put a positive light on negative things that are happening.
Okay, but keep going. That's just work. I want to hear everything stressful.
Oh gosh. Let's see. Personally or just
Yes.
okay,
No,
personally,
no,
let's
privately. Of course, personally, yes.
Because I could give you a whole laundry list
Keep
of
going.
that too.
I want to hear it.
All right. Yeah, I have a very close friend who has, similar to your mother, could have made changes, didn't.
So he's reaping a
now
harvest
at
of
the-
bad choices.
Yes.
Ill? Is he ill?
Very.
Ill.
Yes.
So ill friend. Uh-huh.
I'm a single parent,
Okay. So how old's your child?
13,
Okay. Single
Almost
parent
14.
Of a 13-year-old. Okay.
girl,
Okay.
so that makes it worse. Which I'm worried about her. She's got some things going on that it's leading me to think maybe she's experiencing the beginnings of anorexia.
Sure.
So I've got that. Let's see, money issues, being a single parent as well,
Yep.
and her dad doesn't help a lot. So I'm raising her by myself. I'm paying
Income?
for everything.
Yep. Keep going.
Let's see, my mom, I take care of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Primary caregiver, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yep. Keep going.
I don't know what else
I got
is
it
there.
all afternoon.
All right. Well, I think that's enough.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought this was a real problem. This is pretty simple. You sure? Nothing else?
Oh, well, I do. There's some other things, but I'm not going to talk about it in front of everybody.
Okay. Well, is it anything that you could publicly share?
I'd rather not.
Is there anything major, I mean, that would be helpful to the group?
Well, I don't know. I went through a period where I did lose a lot of weight, and then when some of this stuff happened, it all came back,
It
and
didn't
I
all came
lost
back.
all of
Let's
that.
deal with the reality.
Okay.
You started to do things differently. Is
Yes.
that true? Okay.
Yes. I went back into some old habits.
So you fell back into patterns.
Yes.
Okay. Patterns are critical to pay attention to. And this, well, let's first give a round of applause for her honesty. I mean, that takes a tremendous amount of courage in the face of judgment and everything else to get up here in front of everybody and
Thanks.
to share and be as vulnerable as you've allowed yourself to. Now, the first thing we need to look at is all these, okay? Looking at this, we have your provider relations, you have emails to do, phone calls, you have meetings to handle, you have research, you need to make sure you keep a positive attitude with and mood with the providers. You have to deal with public relations regarding that. Now, all these here, we'll use blue. Okay, what you want to do when you have this, and this goes for everybody, is make a chart like this. And what you get is you see a huge grouping of that is all pretty much professional. Excuse me. Okay? So all that is more a project. It's not a lot of little things. It's one big thing. This is all your professional development. Okay? Then you look within that and you say, what can I leverage? Now, there's a difference, and you need to be careful of this. Many people say delegate. I don't use that word. Leverage means, what could I give to someone and put on that person the responsibility, an incentive, so as long as it goes well, they get a reward, and at the same time, there's a consequence that I'm supervising it, so I do know what's going on. It's not like handing people a stack of paperwork and saying, make this happen. It's looking at things and saying, what can I leverage? So some of these, do other specific times. What I would do with emails, this is my personal strategy, is a time of day. Now, some of this is time sensitive. If you're in a business where you can't take, the hour or two in the morning and only that time every day, which I find concentrated energy is the most effective way of dealing with any situation. What we tend to miss is we think that we can multitask. That's a myth. The brain does not work that way. Neuroscience has proven the brain does not multitask. It switches. That's why I'm so blessed to have Crystal, my lady in my life, because I used to be terrible phone call, text, and all that when you drive, because I'd say, oh, you can multitask. Bull. You cannot multitask. Your brain's constantly switching, and if you're exhausted, it's that much less reliable. So what you need to do is try to set up a time where you do a concentrated amount of one thing. Phone calls, emails. The meetings, they're spontaneous, so they can come and go. Look at what you can leverage. Now, some of these are ongoing. Being in a good mood. Now, here's where we come in. You don't look to change the providers that are negative. You don't look to change the company morale. You look to change how you feel. How do you meet your day? There are people when you open the door in the morning on Valentine's Day and it was filled with snow. There are people like, holy shit. I don't believe this. Freaking cold. I don't even want to go out of the house today. There are other people like my girl, Crystal's like, let's go make snow angels. I'm like, I'm 30 years old. But there are people that get excited at things and people that look for what's wrong with it. You need to bring to it a perspective that's going to help you. Now, how do you get to that perspective? Number one, make sure that you're taking care of the little things. You don't have to make major changes. You do not need to, Lori, all of a sudden, go on some diet. Okay? Diet, the word, D-I-E, automatically is painful for most people. What you need to say is, how can I have more energy? When I work with a client, and in the book and in the CDs, I say in there, okay, at breakfast, this is what you're going to eat every day. Now, here's the cool thing about that. Some people say that's boring and monotonous. Well, there's a reason that successful people, I use Steve Jobs a lot because I thought from a business perspective, not from a personal, interpersonal perspective, he was brilliant. He was not good, from what I understand, never met him, with relationships, but he's very good with bringing his visions to fruition. A little crazy as well, but the problem that he had was interpersonal. When he went to do anything in his life, he always was systematic. So, for example, he wore the same outfit all the time. He had the same size of jeans, tons of the same tennis shoes, and black shirts. Yeah. Why? Because it allocated more freedom to the part of his brain to be creative. But when you're thinking about, what am I going to have for lunch? Did I have enough calories? Did I have 21 points? Did I do this? Did I do that? So free up the part of your mind space that you can by leveraging, by doing the things every day that can be routine on a schedule, ritually. Exercise at the same time, outside of work hours. I would say sacrifice an hour of your day to get up earlier, sacrifice an hour of sleep so that you can get out of the way and get done with it. And then you have your first full day ahead of you just to do what you need to do. You get home and you'll know you have done something for yourself. How much better does it feel when you've dedicated a little bit of time for yourself? It's therapeutic. You can listen to something. You can watch something entertaining. You can get your body and emotions charged up with good music. Whatever it is that's going to change your state, that's going to get your body charged up, that's what you need to do. And it starts you on a positive instead of negative. If you get out of bed asking yourself on a Monday, like many people, how am I going to get through this week? Instead of, what can I get from it? Ask yourself how you can make yourself more valuable to the company and then be rewarded for that value you bring. Okay. You see, if you ask yourself, how can I be of more value? The marketplace pays you in return to the value you bring. Right. So you can either understand, you get paid for the value you become, that is what you're investing in yourself, and the value you bring. When you have more energy, when you have more of a leadership position, when you can be more positive, guess what happens? Your team's morale changes. Guess what happens? Profitability and the way you deal with people gets better. If you walk up to people and you're, getting out of bed in the morning, you get to work, and you're in a bad mood, you had an argument at home, you thought that the child support payment didn't come, whatever it is, you're not nearly as likely to be able to be at your best if you would have already primed yourself. So what I tend to do is prime myself. In the mornings, I wake up, I exercise first thing. I eat the same every day. I don't vary my weekly food plan at all because it makes it predictable of how I'm going to feel. I couldn't have all this energy to get up here and just talk and talk and talk if I wasn't taking care of this. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give her a round of applause. Next question.